Hi, I'm Leslie Hill, the Program Director of the Women's Entrepreneurial Opportunity Center. Today I am joined by Elizabeth MacDonald, who is the owner of The Verbal Edge. And together we are bringing you Getting Vulnerable and Going Strong. Our topic today is really going to center around sales and networking and building a business. And Elizabeth, explain a little bit about The Verbal Edge.
Oh, good. Thank you. The Verbal Edge is a company where we focus on professionals. And typically, my clients are already people who are good communicators. They're already good communicators, and they want to be even better. We want to enhance or hone our skills. And what I found in the 9 years we've had this is that a lot of times my clients end up being people I didn't expect because I already see them as good communicators, but they value communication skills. And then there's other people that I think, oh, would you just ask me to help you? And they don't care.
So those are not your customers.
And I give workshops to staffs and leaders, and also individual consultations.
And we've actually hired through the WEOC. We have hired Elizabeth, and they are hands down some of our most our highest turnout is for the Verbal Edge.
Thank
events.
you. And the most fun workshops that I work with a lot of corporations, et cetera, and the Women's Entrepreneurial Opportunity Center has been a wonderful supporter, and always great to be there with all the women. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we've just thanked each
other. We're a very thankful group today. Now, who do you work with as far as I know? Like we would enlist your skills, individuals.
Yes,
who else could hire
lots
you?
of corporations. We are located here in the Fort Wayne area and also in the Tampa Bay area. So I work with corporations and nonprofits both here and there. Anyone from banks and attorneys, school systems, people who want to present, be professional or keynote speakers, teachers, politicians, and I've worked with two, and they both have won their elections, and that has been exciting. I used to be a reporter, and so I know a lot of politicians and have interviewed a lot of politicians, and so I've learned from them how to interject when they came to town, we had our own agenda, and they had their own agenda, and I would ask them questions on our agenda, and they would every time put in their sentence. It was masterful.
It is.
Yes, and so I work with a lot of politicians, and someday I'll tell you all the things that I have said. Many different types of professionals. It's fascinating. I love it.
When thinking about selling to some of these different clients, how do you change how you approach them? And thinking, where do you meet them? Mm-hmm. And then how do you make that ask?
Okay, good question. A lot of what I do is network or is referral or is I have somebody for you to meet. And many times I will say, typically I work with clients who might be uncomfortable standing in front of people, or they're a little concerned about the grammar, or they are embarrassed maybe about certain things, but they're not sure how to do it right. And I say, that may not apply to you, or you might know someone who has that same concern. And if you do, I am the person. And I'll tell you why I say that, because my background includes teaching English at Southside, and I loved that. All facets of that. And then also before that, marketing for Fort Wayne Community Schools and being a communication specialist and the coordinator of educational video for the entire school district. And then before that, broadcasting. And I was in broadcasting for 13 years, both in Fort Wayne and in the Norfolk, Virginia area. Many times people say, we would like you to please go and meet with this person. And like boards of directors will say, we want our president of a corporation to come and have individual consultations. Or clients whose staff they feel might need some positivity or a cultural boost. And I even do vocabulary building, grammar correction, mistakes that CEOs make. I'll couch it in that way. Mm-hmm. And then also presentation skills, professional email and formatting, anything, being able to talk to a person that you would normally avoid, just because a lot of times we already foresee, oh, they're going to be mad, or they're not going to talk. And the thing is, we have already decided how the outcome will be, so we stay away from them. But what do? We go to somebody else and might gossip. And can you imagine how destructive that is for a culture? It's very toxic. But if we can know what to say to approach, so everything will be win-win and respect-filled, oh, what a difference it makes. So that's only some of what I teach. Positive, clear, confident communication. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful.
One of my favorite tips that you give us is, like you just said, we tell them how they're going to feel.
Yes. Yes, embedded positive commands. I love that. And I'm always giving that, and you'll appreciate this. Are you aware? Or, by the way, this is going to be an interesting interview. I know it started out to be, and it's going to be interesting throughout the whole time. An embedded positive command. And it works. And we inadvertently give ourselves and other people negative commands, like, oh, you've been to that restaurant? Oh, well, I don't know, see if you enjoy it. Things like that. Or, mm-hmm. I know you don't like the green beans, but eat it anyway. Well, heck, here, green beans. And then afterwards, maybe ice cream. But green beans, you're going to love it. You know who eats green beans? Spider-Man. I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I read that somewhere. Reputable source.
Yeah. He needs his greens.
That's too. Right. It's too red.
and that's a really good thing to think of when you have a difficult client, is how can I approach this in a way that they're going to listen and then change without them feeling as though I am hard to work with.
Oh, yes, and always respect. Because when a person feels as though he or she is being threatened, even if we're trying to make a point, they stop listening, and then they start defending themselves. And the conversation has just gone to a different trajectory. So it's always that way. And I make sure I'm always understanding, like, you said such and such and such. Is that accurate? Or, wait, I think I'm misunderstanding something. This is what I'm hearing. And then I paraphrase. And the people feel listened to. And so many times I did misunderstand. Or maybe they misspoke and didn't know. Mm-hmm. So that's good too.
Do you go to CEOs and pitch to them? Or is this in the networking setting that people are saying, I have someone that you should speak to, and I'd like to connect you?
I know a lot of CEOs, and I know them from my career in broadcasting, etc. I will talk to them, and I also know other people who will talk to them. It's amazing who needs this or wants this. And a lot of times it's not the CEO. So a lot of times it's the human resources people or the people in training who will go to the CEOs and say, this is what we've noticed, and I think we need this. Mm-hmm. So it's I never really know who it is. I just know that they are people who value communication skills and want to improve, either for themselves or their staffs or their leaders.
Mm-hmm. I think of grammar, and I immediately think, now I have to think about everything I'm saying. So how do you combat that a little bit? Do people worry about what they're saying in front of you?
Yes, they do. And I'm gentle. I really am. Ask my students at Southside of years ago. I always understood if someone said, you was, and I said, you know what? That is so, you are thinking logically. You is a single subject, and the verb is a plural verb. And we need to just go along with whatever the rule is. It's a dumb rule, but let's do it. And it's you were. I'm always gentle, and I'm that way with people, anyone I teach, because I don't know, I give a lot of grace and I understand. And I think the fact that they've come to me and said, will you help me with this, is good. Now, I've had people who say, oh, great, she's in the room, and I said, I'm gentle. And I don't know of anybody that has said, "Oh, beware of Elizabeth MacDonald." I don't want to enhance what they're saying.
Sure.
And sometimes if I know them real well, I'll say, "Are you aware?" Or "I'm going to be a coach for a minute. Is that okay?" I got off the phone about an hour ago with someone who I know very well and haven't talked to her for about a half a year. And I said at the end, "I think you're going to appreciate this. Can I be your coach for a second?" She said, "Sure." And I said, "Are you aware that you're starting to say a lot of likes?" And she said, "No." And I said, "You're starting this sentence with it. Like when I came back, I was like this." And that she said, "Oh, who have I been around?" And I said, "So this is what you do. Have your husband do this every time you say like. Don't have him interrupt. And you will start seeing this, and you'll be amazed. Mm-hmm. And knowing you will get rid of it within a few days," which is an embedded positive command. And she will, because she's a professional. She has just been hanging around the wrong people for a little while, and it is contagious.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, and the children pick it up, or you've been hanging around your children for a while, that's...
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Are there any tips that you have for networking?
Yes, I have a lot. And a lot of times people don't think about these. For one thing, and that was the thing I was going to bring to the table, I always wear my name tag when I'm out networking because that's my storefront. And we always on this side, it's the side in which we shake hands. And so people don't have to look all across us. Shake hands, here, let us shake hands. Parallel to the, do I want to say, yes, perpendicular. Excuse me, and web to web. People who do this, that's one of the first. Yes, exactly. That's what we think. She just showed us what we think. All right. So what I do sometimes is I actually just push my hand all the way to the back, web to web. In that, ask questions that you want to know the answers to, and not, "Oh, how long have you worked there? What do you, and ask something fascinating like, "What's the most interesting thing about your job?" Or "What was the most surprising thing?" Or "What did you not expect to learn?" Things like that. Or you can say, "What are you working on right now that fascinates you?" And you could be talking to a CEO and he could say, "I'm building my son's race car." And he will light up, and then you ask him about that, because the whole idea of networking is relationships and connecting. And we may or we may not even get to what we're doing, but that person will remember us. And then he might, and usually people will, because of reciprocity, say, oh, by the way, what do you do? And then you can at least say a little bit. But they'll remember and they'll think, "Well, this was fascinating. I really want to talk to this person about that." The other thing, and these are a couple of things, but when you're in networking and food is involved, really just keep the food to one hand so you can have the other hand available. Yes. So if you're doing a drink and something to eat, do one at a time, or go to a table and finish that. And let's see. Oh, yes, merging in and out. Yes.
That's good.
All right. So you're talking to someone and you're deeply in a conversation. It's harder to merge in with just two people too. So what I would do is I would stand a couple of feet away, because they need to finish their talk. And I know that we've all been in that situation where you just suddenly somebody looms on you, and I was at the point where I was actually doing the action step of explaining my job, and I knew that this person wanted to know, and somebody just walked in, started to talk, and I thought, "Oh, wow, what just happened?"
Hello.
Yes. So wait until we're invited in. And it'll be and somebody will look, and they might even give a 1 second or 1 minute thing, and then they will open the circle, and we know to walk in. Now, sometimes I was somewhere last year where two women I wanted very much. I hadn't seen them so long. I wanted to talk to them, and I could tell they were in intense conversation. I waited for about a minute and a half, and then I walked away, and because it was more important that they complete their conversation. Now, here is how you merge out of a conversation when you're networking. And the idea is interrupt yourself. So if you and I are talking, and I know that I need to go talk to some other people, or I'm going to be talking to you all night, and say you're talking about something, and then I would say, "Leslie, I so enjoyed talking about that, especially when you mentioned this and this and this. So I am speaking now." And then I'm going to say, "And I'd love to get together with you some other time," or may I have your business card? Something that would end it up, and then say, I'm gonna need to go over and talk to this person now. It was great talking to you. However, if you're talking to me about something and you're animated and you're really da da, and then you finish, and then I'll say, I'm gonna need to go over and talk to this person. How would you feel? Interrupted.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even listen to you, though. I just was waiting for you to stop talking so I could do this. So the whole idea is say the last comment and then interrupt yourself. And so the person will feel, and especially if we summarize and say, I especially enjoyed this. And then for listening skills, repeat a couple of words. So you said it was devastating yet exhilarating. Tell me more. Oh my gosh, they will love that. I did an experiment with a woman one night, and I said, well, let's just go. It was after an event. We had some time. I said, well, are you up for dinner? And she said, yes. So I thought, I'm going to only ask questions about her. The whole night I did, and it was great because actually the question asker controls the conversation. Mm-hmm. And so at the end, she said to me, this was one of the most interesting evenings I've had. And I thought, I cannot believe she's even verbalizing this. It was so interesting. And I said, yes, it was. And actually it was interesting for me too.
Of course.
Because I'm asking really strange, fun questions, fascinating questions. And I had a great time. So that reinforced in my mind the power of asking questions and getting that person excited about the answers.
Yes, mm-hmm. Yes. And again, that kind of goes back to that sales concept is exactly what you just said. Say that again about this person who asks the questions controls the
whole conversation.
So the less you talk, the more you control.
Yes, and one more thing. A person said a couple of months ago, she said, my date and I were talking, and he thought we were out with another couple for dinner, and so he asked, well, how was the wedding? Well, 10 minutes later, she had to kick him on the shins underneath the table because he was on his device, because he was not listening anymore, because the man who answered, well, at 8 o'clock in the morning, we got there. and he was probably around 3:30 when the guy said, and I said, well, you know what he could have asked was, so you went to so-and-so's wedding. What was the most fascinating thing you saw? Or what was the most surprising? Or what did you see that just amazed you? And then it's a paragraph or two. But it's going to be filled with excitement. And you're going to learn, and it's going to be fun. And then you can go to something else. But open-ended questions, but have the questions be something that I care about and the other person's going to be caring about. Fascinating questions.
Yes.
Instead of going back to the,
so
tell me
great.
about the wedding. That's like,
yes.
How are you? Well, 10 minutes later, I'm still telling you. My lumbago.
My bones.
Yes, lumbago.
Yes.
Who has lumbago things anymore? My great-grandmother used to. Now I don't think we don't even come with lumbagos anymore.
And unfortunately, after, 20, we all start talking about
it.
Yes,
I brought the book that I have written, Sharpen Your Verbal Edge, 101 Tips to Enhance Your Professional Communication Skills. And this is a compilation of 6 years of communication tips that I've posted. And it's all facets of communication. And it's everything from the last section is grammar, learn to love it. I just frightened. And start, you're very good, very good. And section is, first is the importance of communication skills. And then presenting yourself and your message. And this could be at a restaurant or in front of 2,000 people. And the next one is choosing the right words. Then the power of words. Oh, my. And words to omit or avoid. Changing negatives to positives, my personal favorite, because we can say so many positive things, but we'll say it negatively, like, that was not bad. And that's a compliment in some people's minds, instead of, that was good, it was not bad. I have a whole lot of them, as you know, and I collect them. Some people collect coffee cups, I collect negative phrases, and I love it. It's amazing to me. And another one is all about networking, and then the last one is grammar, learn to love it. And it's fun. A lot of people are buying this for their staffs. It's a nice primer or primer, depending on how you want to pronounce that word.
And it's nice because if you want to work with Elizabeth and you want a little, how we create those know, like, and trusts, this is a great way to have an introduction to her on your own time. But how else could they contact you?
My website is theverbaledge.com. And then you can also email me at elizabeth@theverbaledge. And then my phone number is, let's see, it's 260-433-3734.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, thank you so very
Well,
much for
this has been
joining us.
fun. Fun.
Fun. Good.
Yes.
Haven't you had fun?
And do you like the fact that we wore the same color? And so you can't tell
do
where
this.
I leave off and she begins. Yes.
Well, thank you so very much for tuning in, and we hope you watch the full episode as well as future and past episodes. Thank you so much.